Welcome to the first episode of the Andrew Cuomo podcast, a place for leadership, culture, and romance. As this is the first episode in what we hope is a very long list of great episodes and adventures that we will go on, I thought I would begin the first episode with our leadership section. And it's sponsored by News Nation. News Nation. I had never heard of it either until my brother Christopher had been hired by them. News Nation, a proud sponsor of the Andrew Cuomo podcast. Leadership, as I state in my best-selling book from the COVID crisis, is about not giving in to cancel culture even when it is easy to do, because there are people on both sides, and this is something that you'll learn with leadership. Sometimes it means treating your enemies like enemies. Other times it means treating your friends like enemies. It's a very delicate balance where you determine who you want to treat as a mortal enemy and how you want to punish them. Sometimes it can be somebody like Big Bird de Blasio, who is in your same party. But then you have to realize if he starts accomplishing things, other people might think he deserves some credit. So you have to punish him like an enemy. Then you might have Republicans who are saying nasty things about you and your family members. And you have to treat them like mortal enemies and destroy them to prove that you are tough. So leadership is a very tough equation where you have to, sometimes you have to handle things with a sledgehammer, and sometimes you have to handle them with a scalpel that you attach to a sledgehammer. So that is leadership. That's the first episode lesson on leadership. So now we will move to our second segment, culture, which is brought to you by Vinny's Ventilators. Use the promo code QuomoSexual and you will get 20% off all ventilator purchases. Now, culture, as we have just seen Columbus Day pass, is very important to me as a proud Italian-American leader, not only in New York, but in the country. And we have come under fire because Columbus, who discovered America, or an island far away from America while looking for India, it was a great Italian and an adventurer. But now we want to do cancel culture. You know who you never hear complain about Columbus? All the women that he showered with Italian charm in the 1490s. They never complain. But it seems that under our new, more woke culture, all of a sudden Christopher Columbus is not worthy of a holiday and praise as a pioneer in Italian-American culture. Well, I am here to say, even though this may upset some of my Democratic colleagues, I will always celebrate Columbus Day as a day of both history and Italian-American culture, where a man came from Europe and charmed many women and some men and discovered a new land called, well, not America, but a place near America. So it's a very near and dear place to my heart and many Italian-Americans. And so we will not cancel it. We will celebrate it always on this podcast. So that's a little taste of culture on the Andrew Cuomo podcast. And now we get to our final segment of the episode, romance, which is something as an Italian I know a lot about. And this is sponsored by Adam and Eve. With the promo code Cuomo, you can get 10% off your Italian-themed adult films. So Brajol 1, 2, and 3 can be purchased using that promo code. as well as Sweet Italian Sausage Volumes 6 and 9 can be purchased using the promo code Cuomo. Now, romance is something that I know a lot about, okay? It's been misinterpreted recently by many on the left who want to cancel me for what used to be called charm and charisma is now called unwanted touching and probable cause. So what I wanted to do is just a simple lesson that will not get you in any trouble, okay? Because I don't want anybody to go through what I had to go through. But what I will say is one of the best ways to learn if one of your colleagues at work or a subordinate, which can be dicey if you want to talk romantically to a young lady at work who might be an administrative assistant. We used to call them secretaries, but you can't say that anymore. Or perhaps an intern even. You throw a little party, okay, for the office, but as the dessert, you offer cannolis, like such. This is a nice, thick, girthy, cream-filled cannoli. And basically, you offer them to everybody. And to the young female interns that refuse cannolis, those are not the ones you want to talk to. But if you see a woman, really sort of gagging on the cannoli in front of everybody at the office happy hour, then you know that's somebody that perhaps you can get a phone number or a nice professional sexting relationship with. And then you will avoid some of the pitfalls that come from, casually grabbing the breast of an intern to see if she's into Italians. So that ends this week's portion of the show that we will call Romance. So thank you, everybody. This has been episode 1 of the Andrew Cuomo podcast. We hope you will visit our sponsors, okay? Show support for the show. And please go on Apple Podcasts and give it 5 stars or 5 pinched fingers to show that you approve of the podcast. So if there are no more questions, we will hear you next week.